elephant in the room. What exactly is it to be married but you're single? The first scenario where people describe as being married but single is whereby one, we call it the roommate marriage. This is whereby you are married to someone, but then you are living as though you were roommates. This is an instance, for instance, this is whereby you find a couple. Yes, they live in the same house. Yes, they are married, but you will find that one partner sleeps in one room while the other partner sleeps in the guest room, or the other partner sleeps in the living room, or they sleep in the kids room. Reason being, either they have lost that emotional, physical, spiritual, or even mental connection that makes people to be one. And so such people resort to, to just stay in the marriage, but then there's nothing much that they are doing together. Probably they're just sharing bills, and that's just it. Anything past that, no, it doesn't apply to them. The second scenario where people are married but they're actually living as though they are single, it's what I would call the digital divorce. The digital divorce is it's a very it's a very terrible scenario that is affecting very many of us, especially millennials, the Gen Zs, and even some Gen Xers. They're also struggling with this digital divorce situation, whereby, yes, you're married, but you spend a lot of your time in social media. You enter a house and you find a couple, each and everyone or one spouse is busy on their phones, they are busy on social media, they're busy on their laptops, and they really don't know what is happening in the life of the of their partner. They don't know what is the latest thing or the latest occurrence. They don't know how their partner or their spouse is doing emotionally. They are totally clueless about it. And so, yes, you'll find people are married, they are living together, but in real sense, they are digitally divorced. And so someone will be suffering there in loneliness. Someone will be suffering there in silence. Someone will be struggling and, going through mental stress, pressure, depression, and all those other things. The third scenario that I would talk about is the workaholic spouse. Yes, I know you already know the workaholic spouse. So this is a spouse that comes into the house. They have carried all the office work with them. They have no time to know how you are. Their mindset tells them, as long as I am providing, that's all that is needed. That's what it means to be a partner. And so, yes, the other partner will be there craving for some attention, craving for some time, craving to feel that emotional connection. And it is worse for those people whose love language is quality time. You look to your partner to spend some time with you, but they are a no show. The only thing that is driving their mind is being there and just working. They leave the house very early in the morning and they come back later in the evening. And when they come, they don't leave the work in the office, they bring the work with them. That is the third scenario. The fourth scenario, whereby people are married but they're actually single, It's where you have that emotionally distant partner. The emotionally distant partner, I'm telling you, that can be so draining. It is draining and extremely draining. You try to talk to someone, but they are just looking at you. Their mind is distracted, their mind is elsewhere. You try to tell them, my dear, my love, I'm going through this, I'm struggling with this and that, but they just don't care. Or they behave as if they just don't care. It's none of their business. You manage your battles alone, you handle your issues alone. And so you find, yes, you are there in that marriage, but you're feeling unheard. You're feeling left out. You're feeling completely lost because you cannot communicate. You cannot speak with your spouse. You don't know what they are going through. You don't know what is stressing them. Yes, if you are in such a situation, my friend, you are married, but you're single. Is there hope? Yes, yes, there is hope. There is hope. Let's look at the fifth scenario. The fifth scenario is whereby it's what I call the parenting only. I'm in this marriage just to parent. So the parenting only dynamic is also another common type of married but single kind of relationship, or rather a situationship, because that's not marriage, that's a situationship. So yes, you're married, but you're only there for the sake of the kids. I don't mind. I'll just be there. He will be doing his own things. I will do my own things as long as the kids are well taken care of. I will get my emotional needs probably met elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things are happening. Those things are happening. And the only thing they think or talk about is baby A okay? Is baby B okay? What is baby D's schedule? Did they go for swimming? Did they go for what? Did they eat? And that's it. That's where they draw the line. When it comes to you, no. How are you, my dear? How was your day? No, 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 no. These kinds of people only coexist together for the sake of the kids. And that's why you find that when the kids become big, when the kids grow, they literally, this couple literally, they're done. They're kaput. Like that relationship it's gone. It's long gone. That's why you'll find either the mother, and most of the time it is the mothers that do this, the wives, it is the wives who do this. You find that, yes, you're in your 70s now, you're like, oh, our kids have grown. And then that's when the wife drops the bombshell and they tell you, now, you know what? I'm done with this. I want out. I want a divorce. Or they leave you there. And if you had 5 kids, they will start visiting one child after the other. This month, they have gone to visit baby A. They stay there the entire time. Second month, they have gone to visit baby B. They stay there the entire month. The next time, they have gone to visit baby C. They stay there the whole month. The next month, they have gone to see baby D. And then the fifth month, they have gone to see baby E. And then what happens on the sixth month? Terrible. Yes, your guess is as good as mine. They are back and the cycle continues. They have gone to visit baby A once again. So let's normalize taking care of our spouses. Let's normalize thinking about our spouses, because you never know their worth, you'll never realize their value, what they bring to the table, the value they add to the table, until you don't have them. And that's why you'll sometimes find some people in their old age, especially the men, they end up, there. They have been left by their wives, and they're there struggling and wondering what happened. This lady is never at home. They only maybe once a year, they're in your home for only 1 month. The other, or only 2 months. The other 10 months, they're busy all over visiting their children, because they have nothing left. They have no attachment to you. And so they just don't care. So, does this happen? It does happen. I've seen it happening. Let's talk about the fifth scenario. Is it the fifth? No, it's the sixth. The sixth scenario. Now, the sixth scenario is whereby we have these couples whereby one of them is struggling with the resentment, that silent resentment. You did hurt them, but probably you talked about it, you addressed the issue, you were there comfortable, you say, like, he forgave me, or she forgave me. Spoiler alert, they did not forgive you. They are just there, silent, but deep down inside them, deep down in their hearts, they resent you. They feel like this person, oh my, oh my, what am I doing with this person? They're just there persevering. And that's such a terrible situation to be in. So you find that instead of having a bond with you, these people are just having this passive aggressive behavior. They just look at you from the side of their eyes. Mm-hmm. Mm, uh-huh. What is this person saying right now? And so, yeah, that's the terrible and sad reality on the ground. Yes? So, yeah, so let me recap briefly about these situationships, being married but single. The first one, we said, being in the roommate marriage. The second one, the digital divorce. The third one, the workaholic spouse. The fourth one, the emotionally distant partner. The fifth one, the parenting only dynamic. And the sixth one, silent resentment. Which category are you in? Mm? Examine yourself, just self reflect, and please watch this with your spouse. Watch this with your spouse, because the sooner you know which category you are in, the sooner you will get a solution to your problem. Once again, being married but single, the six categories that we have: the roommate marriage, the digitally or the digital divorce, where your partner is only thinking about being on social media, they don't have time for you. We also have the workaholic spouse. The only thing they think about is advancing their career. When it comes to you, they don't care about your feelings. They're only thinking about, when am I getting the next promotion? When you try to talk about it, they're like, as long as I'm providing for you, that's enough. The fourth scenario, it's whereby we have the emotionally distant partner. You are there with them, but you can't have those meaningful conversations. You cannot have those meaningful conversations. They are so detached from you. You feel so much unheard. The fifth one is the parenting only dynamic. Very common. People are together only for the sake of their kids. And finally, the sixth one is the resentment, the silent resentment. Terrible, terrible, terrible. These kinds of people who have who are resenting you silently. They are very dangerous. They wait for you at your lowest time and then they disappear on you. So, yes, that's it. So, the question is, why does this happen? Why do we have people who are married but single? Let's talk about that. Hello, welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for joining in. Today we are addressing a very big giant, which is the married but single situationships, because it's something that is happening, it's something that is so common. And we've talked about five categories whereby we have the marriage, the roommate marriage, and many more. Now, let's talk about why this happens. Why do we have married but single people? People who are married, but deep down they live as though they are single. One, it's lack of, lack of intentional effort in the relationship. You find that one partner is putting in all the effort, but the other partner has no, thank you, but the other partner has no, is not putting any effort. The second one is poor communication. Yes, you are there with someone, but you're not communicating. Somebody has offended you, but you keep quiet. And then up. Thirdly, it's unresolved conflicts. There are people who would rather sweep all the issues they are having under the carpet. They don't address the issues they are having. And as a result, you find that one partner or the other will suffer from emotional detachment. Fourth one is taking each other for granted. Oh my, how we've I believe all of us at one point or another, we've taken our spouses for granted. And this is very, very, very harmful. If you take your spouse for granted over a very long time, they will just detach from you. And so, what practical solutions do we have? What will be the ideal practical solution to the married but single situation? The first thing that maybe I would recommend is, you know, prioritizing your emotional and spiritual connection. I love what the Bible says. The Bible talks about husbands loving their wives just as Christ loved the church. That is in Ephesians 5, verse 25. But how many husbands out there have dedicated their lives to loving their wives just as Christ loved the church? So, to address this, the first thing that probably you can consider doing is, create time to have heart to heart conversation. Create time to have heart to heart conversation. Get to understand what is happening in the life of your spouse, what is happening in the life of your partner, what are they going through. Take time to even pray together. Those 5 minutes daily prayer, just so that you are in the same space, so that you can also connect spiritually. And another thing also that you can do, to if your issue is you are struggling with the digital divorce cycle, you are in that category, then what I would try to recommend is have a rule whereby you set a no phone zone. For instance, the dining table, you can say when it is time to eat, then everybody puts their phones down. When it is time for bed, everybody puts their phones down. And so you use those times that you have selected, those times that you have identified, to have those heart to heart conversations, to catch up, on your partner, and to know what they are going through. And also, it's also important to, another solution, it's important to reignite the romance and the friendship. Proverbs 5 verse 18 says, let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth. How about you try to create time to go on regular dates? You don't need much. You can create time at home. You set up maybe those breakfast in bed. You organize for a simple dinner right from home. Let the kids go and stay with their grandmother or their grandparents, or with a friend. You can speak with a friend to watch over your kids for the afternoon. And this can really actually work out quite well if you have those small groups whereby you have like five of you, and you decide, you know what, we'll be doing a rotational kind of we'll be having a rotational kind of agreement, whereby this week so and so watches over our kids, time to the rest of us we have time to, to bond and kindle those my spouse here is smiling. I think he's thinking his own things, eh? He's trying to imagine a possible date right after this right after this live stream. And also, now the fourth solution that I would give you, instead of harboring resentment, how about you try and resolve conflict God's way? And what is God's way about resolving conflict? The Bible says in Ephesians 4:26 that do not let the sun go down on your anger. And it's so sad that many of us, we've been victims of this, including myself. I'm not perfect. Don't think I am an angel. I'm no angel. I'm no angel. But we try. We try. We try. We try. We try. We try. So try and adapt this principle. Don't let the sun to go down when you're still angry. Don't avoid hard conversations, no matter how difficult they are, no matter how hard they are. Approach them head on. Approach them with a sober mind. Don't approach them in anger. Take a breath, cool down, plan for a meeting, and tell your significant other that, you know what, my dear, I would like to have a talk with you over coffee. Go somewhere, or even at home, prepare that coffee, sit down and talk. Have that difficult conversation, those hard conversations that you don't want to have. Like, I found you chatting with so and so. I didn't like that message, or that message made me feel like this or like that. So don't begin to, to attack them. What we normally say when it comes to communication, it's better to use I feel like this, like that. So you use I statement as opposed to using the you statements whereby you say, you did this to me, you did this and this, you did that, you made me this. And so try and use I feel the way addressed that issue. It was very brutal. It made me feel unwanted. It made me feel unheard. And finally, how about we practice the art of forgiveness? We forgive our spouses just like Christ forgave us. Whew. Oh my goodness. I have spoken for over 1 hour. Yes, so yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just going to let that sink in a little bit. Hmm, I've rested a little. Let's get right into the next one. The other thing that probably we could talk about is seeking godly counsel, seeking godly counsel, and also seeking to, to be in a godly community, or a community that is actually for marriage, pro marriage, not anti marriage. Not those people who say, marriage is a scam, marriage does not work, marriage is false, marriage is that. If you are in a community whereby every time people are, they are bombarding your head, they are bombarding your mind with negative thoughts, with negativity about marriage, of how marriage does not work, then unfortunately, my friend, that will be the reality for you. So, how about you identify those people that they are really intentional about their marriages. They are really intentional about making their marriages work. Be friends with those kinds of people. How about being part of, a small group in church, a group of married people who have made it, who have made it uh, an objective, who have made it a goal that they are going to work on their marriages, they are going to make sure their marriages work. Because at the end of the day, nobody said that marriage is easy. Marriage is total hard work. It's labor. You have to labor. You have to work. But then when you understand God's design for marriage, then marriage becomes good. Marriage becomes sweet. And that's when people tell you, have a blissful marriage, then yeah, it's possible, it's doable. Finally, how about serving each other selflessly? Marriage is about sacrifice. It's not about, I want this, I want that. You must do this, you must do that. Sometimes you need to, sacrifice a little. Create room for the other person. Create space for the other person to feel heard, to feel cared for. Understand each other's love language. What is your partner's love language? What is that one thing that if you do for your spouse, they will smile? Like I'm smiling. Yeah. For me, it's I love I love acts of service. Yeah, that one speaks to my heart the best way. I like it when my partner, goes out of their way, goes out of their comfort zone, and tells me, you know what, sweetheart, relax. Today I'm making you dinner. I'm making you lunch. I'm making you breakfast. That is my love language. That one speaks directly into my heart. And when my partner serves me like that, I feel, yes, We we are moving somewhere. There is hope for tomorrow. So serve each other selflessly. Ephesians 5:28 says that husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. Uh-huh. Husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. Do something kind for your spouse without expecting anything in return. Very practical, right? Very doable. Don't tell them, I've brought for you this gift. Now I expect you to bring for me a gift as well. Ladies, ladies, especially those of you of us whose love language is, gifts. Mm? Or those who are married to husbands whose love language is gifts. Don't give your spouse a gift and then demand to be given a gift back. Just speak their love language. If gifting them it's the love language, once in a while, give them something thoughtful. You don't have to buy for them an entire aeroplane or a helicopter. No, just the thought, it's what counts. It could be something handmade. It could be a prayer, by the way. It could be a prayer because at the end of the day, we are humans. There are things that we battle deep down, and it feels nice. I know my husband normally tells me that, what, sweetheart, it will be good if I feel good when you pray for me. Those times when I tell him, no, you look stressed, let me say a word of prayer for you. I know many times we can say these prayers maybe in private, but once in a while tell them, what, my dear, come here. I just feel like praying for you. Give them a hug and say a word of prayer for them. Yeah? I need to personally do this today, actually. I need to do this more often. I need to do this more often. Whew. So, finally, my friends, yeah, I'm being told that I have said finally 3 good times. Yeah, well, that's the African in me speaking. So, finally, fourth time, finally, let me say that God's design for marriage is meant to reflect the love of Christ for the church. It requires effort, it requires grace, it requires sacrifice, and it requires commitment. If only and only if both partners or both the two people involved in the marriage are intentional about seeking Christ first and having them as their guide, the one who directs them on how they should handle issues of marriage, then God can restore even the loneliest of marriage. No matter how lonely your marriage is, yes, yes, there is hope. There is hope. Until next time, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It's been nice, extremely nice having